Good day, everybody. This is Jim Evans with Today in Trades. I'm extra excited today to have a special guest. Those of you who frequent um, waiting rooms and hospitals or sit at your couch vegging on HGTV, I have Tom Reber here with me. More importantly, if you haven't had the chance, please go YouTube the heck out of him. His content is incredible. His vision is amazing, and he's the real deal. He's what I think all of us are thirsting for: practical ways to build your business, compete, no excuses, and most importantly, just a great customer experience. That's what we're all about at Today in Trades, powered by BidClips. None of this is possible without the tools, which BidClips is the amazing tool. But if we're not doing the work, it's just a tool, and the tools don't build the house. So here we are with Tom Reber. Tom, I'm glad to have you on the show today.
I appreciate that, man. I was just going to sit back and let you keep saying nice things, man,
Oh,
because
geez.
that way we don't screw anything up, so we're
Hey,
good.
that always works when that's all you do with customers. It never backfires. Yeah.
That's
So
right. I appreciate
yeah.
you having
So
me, man.
of course, of
Yeah.
course. All right. So one of the biggest reasons we're on the show today, and we're gonna we're gonna jump to the front, and then we're gonna work our way back. First of all, you have a new book that is dropping called "Winning the Contractor Fight." It's going to be available. First of all, I want everyone to know where they can find this in case they just want to shut my voice off and just go shopping.
Yeah. So it officially releases on October 23rd. We got about three and a half, 400 copies out to our attendees at a big event we had in Denver a few weeks ago. We got some advanced copies, and so it'll be available on Amazon on the 23rd or on our website, thecontractorfight.com. And I believe my right hand guy in my company, he's setting it up to where if you get it through our website, all you got to do is pay for shipping. All right. So if you don't want to spend the money on Amazon, go to thecontractorfight.com, and I'm sure it'll be there somewhere on the 23rd of October.
Very good.
Yeah.
I get a lot of books sent. Quit Getting Screwed was one of our other episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Carolyn Cromines.
Yep.
I'm usually kind of just like, it's fine. Unless the content's pretty good. So before I decided to pick this book up, I obviously had done a little bit of research. And man, have you done a good job of nailing how we feel as not only contractors, but also as subcontractors and anyone on a job site. Your lessons, I think, are applicable to the shower enclosure installer all the way up to the full size GC. And so I picked up this book, everybody, and started going through it. And here's a few things that I just want to I just want to point out. First of all, super easy to read. Nice big font,
Big letters,
easy to
man.
get
There you
it,
go.
big
That's how I roll.
spaces, and
That's right.
man, I tell you how amazing that is. Tom cuts right to the chase. A few things in here that I really liked is, first of all, I want to talk about, obviously, and as you all know that listen to the show, it is all about the customer experience. Most
Mm-hmm.
importantly, what we put into a machine is how the machine operates. What you put into your body is how your body operates. What I love about you, Tom, is so many people dive right into how to manage, how to lead. All of
Mm-hmm.
those things are important, but you really just nailed the importance of setting up your bid, your job, your projects. And I'll tell you, not just because I'm a sales and customer service and experience junkie, but just as someone who's been helping people in this industry, I want to talk about that a little bit this morning. So tell me, Tom, talk to me about the biggest mistakes that contractors make from the moment they get that first call or lead
Mm-hmm.
to the committal of the work. So let's start there
Yeah.
with that, the locomotive.
Yeah. So, if we're going to talk sales process, right? Your phone rings. We have, as we, meaning contractors, for the past God knows how many years, have trained the public, have trained the consumer that we're at their beck and call. That the minute the phone rings, we're going to run out. We're going to drop everything we're doing. We're going to miss our kids' ball game or be late for dinner again because, baby, this is the job. I'm going to get this one, right? And I know I said I'd be home at 5 o'clock for dinner and all this other stuff. Then you come home at 8:30 at night. Then you say hi to everybody, eat cold dinner. Then you go to your computer, you type up a bid till midnight. You negotiate against yourself before you hit send, and you didn't get the job anyway, right? So the biggest mistake I see that we make as home improvement contractors is we give away our control. We don't understand that we're truly in the driver's seat of everything from how our brand looks, to how we answer the phone, to the experience we provide people, to the sales process, to how we fulfill the work. We call it just making sure that you're not in that victim mindset. You are not a victim. You be intentional about how you want your company to operate. We talk a lot about, non-negotiable values and things like that. This is how we operate, and that's the filter for all our decisions as a company. And when you do that, it's pretty remarkable how quickly things can change, because remember, they're calling you. Okay. The prospect calls you because they're perceiving you to be the expert who knows what they're doing. And one of my kids had a surgery once, and I'll never forget, the doctor walked into the room, and it was like a Top Gun fighter pilot walking in as the surgeon, right? He's like, this is what's going to happen here. This is what's going to happen here. Like, there was a swagger, there was a confidence. And he wasn't arrogant. It was like, you could just
Right.
tell he put the work in. He knew his craft. He knew what he was doing, and it totally built trust. And that's what I don't see a lot from contractors in the sales process. Is they go out there and they're timid. They feel like the customer's in control because they say they're going to get bids, and they want you to break your bid down and all this other garbage. And so when I say go in and show up with confidence, I'm not saying, in fact, one of the other big mistakes we make is we talk too much in the sales process.
Oh my gosh.
So this is not about you going in and bragging about how great you are. It's you taking control of the sales process by giving them control. And there's a way to do that through just great questions and step one of our process, which is called the motive.
Unbelievable. I think we talk about this all the time, and thank you for driving. I call it, you're either leading the customer experience or
Mhm.
you're reacting to the customer
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that you can't emphasize enough in training, in the way we run our business. And so, breaking it down, yeah, I couldn't agree more. Being someone who has worked with and coached customer service reps most of my career, we
Mhm.
never ask enough questions. We
Right.
never use tactical empathy. We don't
Mhm.
connect with what they really want. And they might think that they want a bunch of things. We're in Montana, right? You come
Yeah.
up and just start wandering around. I can follow you and make sure you don't get eaten alive or fall in a river. Or I can say, here's what we're going to do. What would you like to do? What do you want this experience to look like? How far can you hike? And you just get the
Mhm.
right questions from a great guide, is the difference between an amazing experience
Yeah.
and a terrible experience. More importantly, if it's a back and forth, just like BidClips does, a relationship building, what you find is there's less mistakes, there's better communication, you don't make assumptions. So I like that you broke a lot of that down. I want to talk about, so a few little snippets in the book. He talks about a certain, I love how you just threw his name out there, one of your first contracts, and how when you estimated that contract, you ended up just losing, I think, 17 grand on the job, because
Yeah. Yeah.
you were doing that. And I'm not going to share more because everyone needs to read this book, but Tom does a great job, everybody, of breaking down in real story certain things that these aspects start to do. And with that, that's the segue into the next step. So I want you to talk about that a little bit. It's obviously in your book, it's important to you. What are the biggest mistakes in then pricing and setting up the expectation?
Yeah, well, I want to rewind to the biggest mistake we make before we get to any of the tactical stuff, and that's that we don't win the battle between our ears. That's really why I wrote the book. For me, I grew up in a contractor family where everyone was tired, broke, and we never went on vacations, and they were dirty, and I did everything I could to not go into the trades, and I ended up in the trades, right? So the contractor fight is that fight between your ears about your worth and your value and who you are. And so that's the first thing that, I don't want to say mistake we make, but that's the first mistake we make when it comes to pricing our worth, because we don't really understand our value. So tactically, the number one mistake that we make when we price our work as a contractor is that we pay attention to the going rate. Um, the going rate is the fastest way into the financial gutter as a contractor, because check this out. We've been coaching people a long time, tens of thousands of people around the world, literally for the last decade. And my team and I, and pretty much 100% of the time when somebody comes to us for help, they need to pretty much double their pricing. Okay. Like it's that they're that far underpriced. So here's the problem with the going rate. If that many people don't know their numbers, are pricing their work inaccurately to not make a profit, And we hide it behind phrases like, well, I just want to be fair to my customers and all that other bullshit. All right. If you're looking to other contractors who are mostly wrong on their pricing, then you're screwed up too. So this is one of those things. Ignore the going rate. Some people right now are listening to this, they're going, yeah, but it's got to still make sense, right? Within our industry and all this other garbage. Or I can't do that in my industry. I can't do that in my area of the country, blah, blah, blah. It's just a bunch of head trash that you got to win between your ears. What I will say is when you truly connect, let's go back to the numbers, when you know your numbers and you reverse engineer what you're going to make for yourself, what the company's going to make for the company, what it's going to cost to run the company, then you can reverse engineer a game plan to make that happen. That's the tactical, easy math part. The mindset part of this charging what you're worth comes back to what we talked about a minute ago when I talked about the motive in our sales process. The motive is all about understanding that people buy for their reasons, not my reasons. Like, I don't know how many sales calls you've been on, but I've been on thousands, right? Just like you, I'm sure. Every single time we go into somebody's home or business or whatever on a sales call, we as the salesperson we can come up with 5, 10, 20 reasons why they should hire us. Okay. We have this training, we won this award, we use this product, we're this, blah, blah, this many years experience. All those things may or may not be good things, right? But if they don't resonate with the client, if they're not one of their reasons, it doesn't matter. And so, I see this all the time. Like a guy will go, I can't double my prices. I go, all right, well, trust me on this. Learn how to sell, learn how to understand their motives for buying, go to them where they're at, and all the stuff we teach with sales. And I promise you, money will become irrelevant if you connect with them on an emotional level. And 100% of the time, they'll call me back and they'll be like, holy crap, this stuff works. Because you ignored the going rate, you focused on them and their reasons for buying and whether or not you can help them or not. And then you either sold the job or you didn't. But a lot of times we're trying to convince people, we're defending our prices and all that other garbage. And that just smells like insecurity, and nobody wants to hire somebody like that.
No, and who wants to be in a relationship with someone insecure? And this is a relationship. I love what you put in on pricing. So we just got to know each other, but on most of our users, they're listening. We have tools, everybody, and those our users on the BidClips side, for example, it'll do the math for the margin for you. You literally get those costs in there. You got a number, and that number is actually going to get you to retirement without a broken back and a bunch of debt and kids that are wondering where you were your whole life. We have to have healthy companies. Cut the bullshit that profit is bad. Stop it. And Tom breaks this down so well in this book, and he makes easy numbers. And I just really appreciate that. But I'm completely tracking here with you. And I want to say something that's important for everybody else. Our ability to qualify the right customer with the right job, the right expectations is the first step in a great customer experience. So what Tom is saying here, if you missed it, if you're not having a good time with this, guess what? The fight between our ears means we can change as people. Those of my story on this show and everything is about life-changing growth. And so you can go to Tom's seminars, you can get the information that's out there. You can use tools like BidClips, a Jobber, Service Titans, any tool you use to help you. So there's no excuses. Excuses are off the plate. But I will tell you that what he brings up in here is something that's not an option, especially during a labor shortage. Okay, on one mouth while market can't handle that. I can't find any helpers and I'm backed up for 9 months. Something's going to give. Those are just excuse giving statements. So everyone listening today, it's time for you to wake up, begin to get involved. Now, I know you have a process and a program that you guys do deliver. I also saw a little thing on here called Nash Vegas. I immediately clicked on it. It was really clever. Let's talk a little bit about that for our contractors that are on this call. I don't know that that's open for everyone, but I want to talk about both what you guys have to offer on the sales process side, but then also what is this Nash Vegas and how do we get involved?
Yeah. So we have 4 events a year in the Contractor Fight. And one of those is every December. And it's called Nash Vegas, where one of my business partners in our sales training arm of the company, he's one day several years ago, he's like, hey, let's hang out with each other in December. before Christmas or something. And the next thing I know, there's 50 to 100 people there every year hanging out, trying to get better. Right. And so it's morphed into this event that we do each year now. And this year, 2021 Nash Vegas, people can certainly go to it. We can drop a link in or you can go to the contractorfight.com and see it on the homepage there or whatever. But this is really about dialing in your whole sales process, from the way you come across to the world, the way you brand yourself, everything from email marketing to a lot of mindset stuff about the crap between our ears. We're going to dig into a few things about really training your teams to upsell additional work. And that's probably one of the big, I guess, differentiators that I've seen through the years. Of one of the things that our members do really well is usually 30 to 40% of their annual revenue comes from their people out in the field upselling. And, just on a call with a guy today where they did 1.8, they're doing 1.8 this year. And one of their crew leaders did 400 by himself out in the field. And so we're going to dig into some of those deeper things, and things like body language, reading personality types, how to take control of the sale with making the prospects always think they're in control. Some things like that, not to play those same typical sales games. We're really, really big on, and there's a couple things in my world here that get a lot of heat, and they get a lot of heat from contractors, not consumers, by the way, which is funny. Number one is, we don't believe you should ever go visit somebody to do an estimate unless you're sure that you're going to get the job. Okay. Because we don't do estimates. We have consultations. We have our pre-qualification process is called Shin Fu. Long story behind that, but it's basically, we're going to gather some information on the phone, and that's when the actual sale happens. So the only time we actually teach people to go to somebody's house is to collect a deposit check or a consultation fee for $500 or $1,000 for your time, if they decide not to give you a deposit check. The second big thing we get a lot of pushback on from contractors, oh, this can't be done and stuff, is the starting point for us is you need to get a 50% gross profit. Okay. So I get so much crap for these two things, because the contractors have been brainwashed into thinking they got to play with the going rate and all that other garbage. They got to, all my other competitors go out and they visit people for free on a Sunday when they're supposed to be with their family. So I have to do it too. Yeah. And those Nash Vegas, we're going to dig really deep into those couple things. And those are the things where we've seen, person after person. I just gave a couple awards out at our event. We call it the Freedom Award. Guys that have unloaded like $300,000 worth of debt and doubled their personal income in a year and a half. Okay. Awesome. Because they got their head right and they decided not to run with the crowd, but they're going to run against the crowd of contractors and do things different. So in a nutshell, that's what Nash Vegas is. Long answer.
No, it's great. That's why it's important. Now, if you're just a lowly, shower enclosure installer, interior glass, maybe a remodel or roofer, are we excluded from hanging out with you cool GC contractors? Or
we got everybody,
is it
man.
open? Good.
We got painters and hardwood guys and electricians and GCs and remodelers, landscapers. We have water feature builders. We've got, because I hear that a lot. Well, Tom, there's no way I can sell I got to go out. I can't, or the big one I get is I subcontract my work out. There's no way I can make a 50% gross profit. And I'm like, well, as long as you tell yourself that, then you're absolutely right.
Exactly. I love this. And one of the reasons I accepted this meeting and we wanted to work with you, Tom, everybody is preaching to the choir of the BidClips Nation. We've created the tool, will qualify, it gathers the information, and we're no longer competing against other contractors. Mm-hmm. We are competing against customer preferences. You're competing against Lowe's and Home Depot. You're competing against Amazon Home Services. You're competing against a presentation. So those of you listening for the first time, maybe Tom's audience, we have the tools now to take what you do, take these techniques that Tom is teaching you with his whole vigor, and then making them into a digital format where people can connect with. And I want to talk a little bit about you. I love your follow-up. I watched two videos that really stood out to me that you've made recently. One was the follow-up process, how you send a bid, 3 days later, you're in a cold sweat, you're itching, you've already talked yourself down 20%. They hate you, you had BO, whatever the reason was, you've convinced yourself. Meanwhile, they just haven't had a chance to look at it yet, till Sunday. What we have found in the BidClip side of the house is that our automated follow-ups where customers can just book a job and pay from the the shitter on Sunday morning and upload 25 grand the other day. One of our clients just bam, deposit without even a job visit is
Mhm.
a proof enough. We have the data, all of you, if you want to come take a look. Customers do not need us to do it the way it was done in the 80s in 2021. It's
Yeah.
just not even feasible. So this is a wonderful opportunity. Anyone listening that's under the age of 40 right now, wake up, put your phones down for a second and listen. This is a great opportunity for somebody who's willing to learn, for someone who's willing to see the trades as an opportunity. We are heading into one of the best opportunities I've seen as a young person in this industry to adapt, to hit customers where they are. And what Tom said is customers are going to trust us by the
Mhm.
way we present ourselves, by the way we feel, and they trust technology as much as they trust you. So if you're bought into to Tom's process, to the contractor fight process, and you just need the tool that will make sure, like in BidClips, if you go under 50% margin, you set that, it won't let you send it. It's a big red
Mhm.
flag. Like, do not even hit the button. And whatever it's going to take for your business to make sure that you are organized and you have a great sales process, you need to reach out and take care of that. So, as my little plug
Mhm.
saying that, I hope all of you and on Today in Trade start seeing that not only is you got a leader like Tom telling us how this future is going to look here and laying out a blueprint for you, as well as today,
Mhm.
you also have you have all the technology we never had in the 80s when we were driving around. People have phones in their pocket. They can show us what they want. They can tell us stories. They walk through their bathrooms and say they talk all about their remodel in a very natural way. You're not going to get if you're in their house with them sometimes. So embrace the new way of doing customer service and giving people a great experience. Next thing I'll talk about is a lot of us are having a hard time finding laborers and help.
Mhm.
I can't go a single episode without someone
Yeah.
messaging me. Oh, well, I love everything you're saying, but I just have no one to do it, and
Mhm.
so I wanted to deliver that. So you talked about the three main characteristics of a new hire. I want you to talk about that a little bit. I thought that was really powerful.
Yeah. Well, let me address the elephant in the room about hiring in the trades right now. Let's little history lesson here. For I'm 52, and as long as I can remember, the educational system's been telling people not to go into the trades. It's only a good fallback option. You need to go to college. And so I think part of what we're dealing with in the trades, even before Corona and all the other garbage that's been going on in the world, this has been an issue because the world is telling us one thing, right? The other problem that I think we face for having a labor shortage is I did everything I could do to not go into the trades because the people that I knew in the trades were tired, dirty, and broke. And my friends who all had dads that were doctors and engineers and lawyers, they were going on vacations, had nice cars. Now, who knows what happens behind the scenes, right? But the point is I think if we want to turn this labor thing around, we got to get our own heads out of our asses first, right? We got to own our crap and we got to attack it and go, all right, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it. I'm going to make money. I'm not apologizing for making money. My relationships are going to be better. We just did this thing in Denver, our profit summit event, Mile High Profit Summit, where the whole part of the whole event was about having a profitable life. Like when you look at a contractor, most people you go, okay, describe a contractor to me. Okay. They're going to go, oh, there's plumber crack, somebody who's drinking or smoking, they're late, they're unreliable, they're out of shape, they're probably on their third marriage and they don't have any money. Okay. Those are the types of words I would have used long ago growing up. And so I think, first of all, we got to go, what do I want my life to look like, first of all, here? And I'm going to model the benefits of having a great contracting business. Like I'm going to be in shape. I have an amazing relationship with my queen. I have, great relationships with my kids. I make great money. I'm able to do some things and blah, blah, blah. And when we're attractive like that, it gets the attention of other people. So strategically for how do you find and build a team and hire and retain and all that other garbage with people these days, to me, the number one thing, aside from you getting better personally, is you have to build your brand. All right. Um, you cannot hire when you need to hire. You need to hire year round, just like marketing. I say all the time, 365 days a year, I am marketing and I am recruiting. I'm hiring. I'm always looking for great people. Now, I'm not running an ad 365 days a year and stuff, but because I'm building my brand, I'm showing content. Like we all have these little boxes that are supercomputers that we carry around in our pockets now, right? We can create content. We can do little live videos of job sites and showing cool things that we're building. We can, do pictures of an employee who just got a bonus for doing something kick ass or whatever it might be. And we let people behind the curtain. We show the type of culture that we have. And the three things you're talking about that I learned in the Marine Corps, number one is that high performers, we call them FWs in my world. Hashtag FW is our thing, but it's high performers want to be held accountable. They want high accountability, they want recognition, and they want fun. And most of our contracting businesses don't have those things. You don't have job descriptions. People don't know how to, like, if I had a nickel for every time that a guy said, "Hey, I lost an employee because, I didn't think he was doing a good job. And so I fired him." I'm like, well, what criteria did you give him to, what does
Right.
doing a good job mean? Like if I'm an NFL kicker, either I make the kick or I don't make the kick. I miss too many kicks. They cut me on Monday morning. That's how it works. Well, in the trades, we don't have those things.
Yeah.
We don't have what I call a mastery ladder. Like you come into the company, you can grow, and you investing in us and us investing in you, that culture of accountability, recognition, and fun through the years, you could climb this ladder and there's a future. Winners are not going to stay in a company where there's no future for them to keep winning. And so that's, to me, it all comes back to what kind of brand. This isn't like logos and stuff, you guys. That's part of it, obviously. You want to that dialed in, but this is about just what are you known for as a company? What are you
Your
going to
company
stand?
your
What is
company
the culture?
persona. Your
Got it.
company persona. It's
And when
all of it.
and when you build that brand over time
Mhm.
and you're living an attractive life,
Mhm.
it's going to be like a magnet to other winners that are going to want to come and be part of what you have going on. Because here's the other thing: the people you want working for you are not sitting at home right now. They're working for somebody else.
Right.
Okay. If somebody is sitting at home right now, October 2021, in the trades, either they're really bad at what they do or they don't want to work. And I don't want either one of those types of people. The kick ass people that we all want, you're going to poach them by building your brand because they're going to look. Because here's the other thing, and I get fired up on this topic here. Right now, those of you who are listening that are going, I just need a project manager, I need a foreman, I need a guy, this, and that. They're working for somebody else right now that's not fulfilling the promises they've made to their employees. They're working for somebody right now who doesn't understand the things that we're talking about here. They're working for somebody now who year after year makes commitments about how they're going to get a raise, give them an iPad, get a company truck, let them lead a crew, whatever it is. And because that owner doesn't have their act together, they're repeating the same year over and over. And that cat's too afraid to leave because he doesn't know where else to go.
Yeah.
All right. Because you got a
Right.
family to feed and all this other stuff. But when you build this type of brand, you use the social media and the marketing and all the stuff that we're talking about here, I promise you, you will be like a magnet to the right people, and the whole people game will be easy.
Yeah, that's amazing. And you'd really hit the nail on the head. And we have so many resources, our episodes, Tom's episodes, to how to build people, how to lead teams. Really great summary. As for estimators, as for the front end customer service, Tom talks often about positivity, competitiveness, which I
Mm-hmm.
love, and their relentless love of the customer experience.
Mm-hmm.
And those things also, so your everybody encompasses the brand, the persona, but
Yep.
when you have different people in the company, we have to have different skill sets. And it's super important that when you're trying to present your company values, especially in those first contact points, you answer your freaking phone or have a tool like BidClips that will
Mm.
give customers another option. Two, we have to make sure that the people that are answering the phone and taking it are positive people that create just an immediate infection.
Yep.
Just like, oh, I want an infectious culture. I want to know more about the contractor fight. Like Tom, if
Yeah.
you watch him for 3 seconds on a video, it's like, I want to meet this guy. I've been excited about this interview all week. Second, are they competitive? Every
Yeah.
single time we interview somebody at BidClips, Tom, every time, and I have potential interviewees, if you're watching this, great, that's going to help you. I always will tell someone at the end, I don't know if you have what it takes to get this job. If they're a sales position, and I need to
Yep.
know that they're going to come back and say, well, what do I need? Or what do I not have? Or what can I do to work on that skill? That's important. Second, if we're at company outings, and one of our employees like tips a ping pong table over, or throws a board game because they're mad that they lost, that is encouraged. Granted,
Yeah.
maybe use a little more tact, but I mean, come on, like that is important. And then lastly, the
Mhm.
customer experience. I love that you hit these three things. And it's important because customer experience, if you don't care
Yeah.
more about that customer and how they feel about you and your company and your brand, like get out of the boat.
Yeah. What you're talking about there is having some, again, we call them non NNVs, non-negotiable values, but those values are also the non-negotiable traits or values that we expect in somebody that works for us, right? And so I'll just give you an example. I go into the book deeper, but like in the Contractor Fight, and honestly, even if I had a painting business again or something else, these would most likely be the exact same values because they're my values, right?
Right.
One of ours is positive peeps only, right? Like just you have to, I'm not, it's hard enough building a business and doing life and stuff on its own. I don't need negative people. So I don't allow negative people to work with for me. I don't partner with negative people. My vendors that I choose to work with are not negative people. So it doesn't mean you don't have a bad day now and then, right? We all have a bad day now and then, but overall you're positive. One of our other values is we call roll the red, meaning the red carpet. Like that's the experience to us. Like how can we always make this an amazing experience for people? We did this event in Denver and it's just fresh in my mind. We've gotten, I don't know, 55, 60, 75 reviews already from this. And I'm blown away by how many people, I'm not blown away because we were intentional about it and I have an amazing team, but how many people said, man, these guys didn't miss a detail at the event. Everything was high class. Everything, we felt special, blah, blah, blah. That's because every decision we make, from who we hire to how we put an event on, rolls through our values. And so, another one of ours is play the long game. We're not in this for a quick transaction. In fact, I've done over well, if you take the 2 podcasts I run, probably going on 600 podcast episodes now and 400 YouTube videos and this and that. Dude, for the first, I don't know, podcast, for the first 2.5, 300, I don't think I ever mentioned, hey, you should buy my coaching program.
Right.
Okay. Not once. And in fact, to the point where my team would get pissed at me and go, dude, you got to plug our stuff now. And then I'm like, and I just have this long game approach to everything. Like if I add enough value, I know it's going to come back. You help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And that's exactly what's happened. Now I had to own my crap a little there because I had some head trash about promoting myself and things like that early on.
Right.
But I just think, these are the values that we look like. And so then we talk about building a team. We interview around these. Our questions aren't like, hey, do you believe it's important to have a good customer experience? Oh yeah, of course. Right. Like that's what
Sure.
most people do.
Give me the paycheck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we develop our interview questions around our values. So I talked about roll the red. I might say to somebody, if you were interviewing, I might go, Jim, what does it look like when you work with a company, you go to a restaurant, you go to a store, what would a red carpet experience look like to you? Or can you give an
Great question.
example? Can you
Give
give
a
an
specific
example?
example of where you've used
Yeah.
a red
Or,
carpet
or
experience.
can you give or flip it, hey, share a time with me that you had a lousy customer experience, or positive peeps only, or what did I say? Play the long game. Hey, tell me about a time that you had to make a decision that was really painful in the short term, but it was ultimately the right thing to do. And I'm just looking for people that have a clue,
Yeah.
and I learned this partially from one of my old business partners and one of my companies a long time ago, a painting company that we had. He used to ask people, he ran our crews and interviewed guys mostly. And the experience was huge to us. He would ask them, he'd go, Jim, what makes a good paint job? And he'd shut up. If the guy went technical right away.
Well, let me answer it. How the customer feels when we're done.
Yeah.
That's what makes a good
What
paint
we were
job.
looking for was things other than the technical part of the craft.
Right.
Like, hey, the customer felt good about having us in their home. They, we didn't leave a mess. We communicated well. If they gave us anything in that realm, then they would move on to the next interview. But if they were clueless, then they just didn't know. And so,
Yeah.
so I think it's important to, you know, have your
That's a,
own values that, uh, and don't fall into this trap, you guys. I need guys. I need guys. I need guys out in the field. Don't just take anybody. Listen. I had a
no,
day
right.
I called. I don't think I put it in the book. I think I called it Black Monday, um, where I fired. At the time, I had 12 employees. I fired 7 of them in 20 minutes on a job site. And it was a long story because this guy was this guy's ride, and this guy was married to this guy's sister, and this guy, so I fired the first guy.
Right.
It turned into 7. Well, those 7 were the most toxic ones we had in the company.
Yeah.
And when we got rid of them, I pulled the other 5 aside and I said, all right, y'all get 25% more money right now. And I said, now that the toxicity's out of here, let's kick some ass. And they were fired up, and our profits went up immediately when we got rid of the
Yep.
wrong people. So don't
Yep.
keep people that aren't the right people. Then I went and called my business partner at the time. I said, hey, I got good news and bad news. He says, well, what's the good news? I said, well, the good news is I've taken back control of our company. He says, what's the bad
Yes.
news? I said, we only got 5 guys left.
And that's leadership, guys. That's the fight. That's the
Yep.
contractor fight. It's making the right decision between your ears and in your heart at the same time in the moment it needs to be made.
Yeah.
And we've had countless guests on here, countless stories. And for those of you riding in your truck right now, listen to this. What is it that you need to do to win that fight? What a killer story. No one cares how well you fade your paint or how you blend if you're an arrogant asshole.
Yeah.
And if you leave the customer feeling like, yeah, I mean, I used to have
Mhm.
technicians like their stuff would never leak. It was beautiful, but they just rub people wrong. And if they didn't fit your culture, fire fast, hire slow. And to
Mhm.
Tom's point, you only have 5 great guys. Qualify your work, move your margin up for the short time so you can take care of those 5 guys while then keeping the brand going. So I'm hearing, know your values first. If you don't, get a pen and paper out, go sit by the river, turn on some Inya and start finding out what you're about. And if you don't like what you're about,
You just
maybe it's
dropped
time to
Enya
change
on
it.
them. You
You
just
gotta
dropped
have,
Enya.
you just get in
Oh, I
your
love that.
zen sometimes.
That's funny.
If you don't have a zen and you're too busy to do this, that's probably step 1. So 2,
Yeah.
go ahead and steal my values from other shows or Tom's if you need somebody else's
Mhm.
values. And then number 3, build your culture around those values, not just your culture for your employees. What I'm hearing today is also the culture of how you present your product and services to your customers, so your customers can feel. And like I said when I answered this question, it's all about how the customers feel about us when we're
Right.
done. The best advertising is no advertising, everybody. In BidClips, similar story. No one even knew about BidClips for 2 years. Some people were like, where the heck is this thing?
Mhm.
Because we didn't need to. You get some wins, somebody's saving a bunch of money, they're doing, they talk to each other. So you have to take care of business, and business is relationships, and business is tactical empathy. It's the ability to connect with feelings of your people, feelings of your customers. So what a great way to tie the cobwebs together. And
Yeah.
I'm really mad though, because I really was hoping I could learn how to actually fight contractors, like win in a fist fight, like after the job goes south. So what a mind-blowing experience.
Yeah, no, but listen, this is doable.
Yeah.
You're not alone. If you're listening to this, you're struggling, you can't figure out the money part, can't figure out the people part, how to brand this and that. You're one conversation away with somebody. Maybe
Right.
this episode or another episode helped you out. Maybe you're one book away from having an idea and
Mhm.
something that's going to help you. I will tell you, probably one of the most important chapters in the book that we talk about is that it's called "Show Me Your Friends," right? Who you
Yeah.
become, who you hang out with. And
Yeah.
so I just want those who are listening, you are not on an island. There's nothing you are feeling or going through right now as a business owner, contractor, whatever, that myself or millions of other people haven't experienced or are experiencing right now.
Mhm.
Um, and the good news is you're there's somebody that's just a half a lap ahead of you that can help bring you along. And you know what?
Yeah.
There's going to be somebody a half a lap behind you that you're going to help bring along. And I think that's one of those things I see. I've seen it change a lot in the last few years, but there was a period of time where, like, I remember going into a paint store when I first started my business 1,000 years ago, and there was this older guy, company owner. I knew I'd seen him in the store, and I had this certain project that I didn't know how to technically do the right way, right, or the best, most efficient way. And we're waiting for our paint to be mixed up. And I said, "Hey, man, I know I've heard you do a lot of work like this. Um, how do you approach this or blah, 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 whatever." I asked him, and he just looked at me, he goes, "Figure it out on your own." And he walked away. Like that was the era that I grew up
Right.
with, that of what
Right.
I just this scarcity mindset. And
Yeah.
I'm glad to say over the past several years, I've seen it shift. I think people
Yeah.
are a lot more willing to help each other because listen, if I help you get better and you help somebody else and they help me get better, that whole I always butcher the
Mhm.
saying rising tides lifts all ships or whatever the
Lifts
hell
all
that is,
boats. Yep.
whatever it is. Okay. Like that's, you know, if if I can add more value and make more money, now I've benefited the industry as well.
Yeah. Yep.
That's why we talk about all the time in the Contractor Fight. Our mission is to bring respect and dignity back to the trades, and you're not
Yeah.
going to do that on an island. And
Right.
so I encourage you, whether it's the fight, whether it's some other program, whatever, get around winners, people that
Yeah.
are, trying to better themselves as individuals and investing in their businesses and their teams. And I promise you, you'll be better off for it.
Real winners love to help. They love to help and they want to pay it forward. And that's just something that's crucial. And then
Yep.
yeah, no, I'm excited about what this book's going to do. I appreciate the dedication to the industry, to contracting for all of us, subs to up to GCs, and for the future. I have two beautiful daughters. We have to create an industry where they can come in and do whatever they want to do. I want it to be an option where they're like, geez, I don't know, Dad, should I be an astronaut or should I be a builder? It'd be great to like
Yeah.
have that conversation be on equal footing. And so I really appreciate your work there, Tom. The last little part of the book that I think is important too is that he does also hits a lot of things of how we react, and that the F bomb was a really cool chapter. I want you to know I thought that was really good. So I'm not going to give away too much. My point I'm making is, if you haven't already put on your list, buy this book. Um, Available immediately. In fact, I think the day after this episode drops. And so get on it, get the book going, because it's going to be a great way to change the most important thing right here.
Yep.
And to me, right here. And there's a big distance between our head and our heart. The fight is all of it combined. And so,
Yep.
Tom, I really appreciate you. I appreciate what you're doing. I appreciate what you mean to those of us that look up to you, that are like, how do we just be you by the time we're at the ripe old age of 52? You look great.
Thank you.
So you really are inspiring. I just appreciate everything you do for our industry. And we're just so thankful to have you on Today in Trades.
I appreciate you having me.